Welcome to the show. Now, I take phone-ups and internet leads probably a lot more serious than most dealerships. Dealerships spend a lot of money to create those opportunities, so in my opinion, handling phone-ups and internet leads is more of a privilege, not a right. Salespeople do have rights. They have the right to be trained and given a skill set that raises their performance level to a specific standard acceptable to the dealership. Have they been trained properly? Have you taken internet leads and phone-ups with them? Have you shown them and managed them through the process to make sure that the skill set is there? As a manager, do you go online and listen to their calls and hear how they're being handled? You know, they're usually consistently good or consistently bad. Either way, you're going to find them to be consistent one way or another. Now, over the years, working with thousands of dealers that struggle with maximizing both phone-ups and internet leads, I could always break it down to two different mindsets for the dealership. One is the dealership that wants to address the problem, or the dealerships that want to fix the problem. Now, for the dealerships that want to address the problem, they bring in one of my trainers in for a couple of days, teach them the skills, role play with them, teach them how to do it right. Can that fix the problem? Yeah, in a small percentage of cases, maybe 10, 15, 20%. But those are the dealerships with a management team that embraces everything during the visit. But for the majority of dealerships, you're just addressing the problem. It takes 3 or 4 months of reinforcing the skill sets, the behavior, and the management process to build some type of instinctive culture that will see continuous success. That will literally solve the problem once and for all instead of addressing it over and over. Just for a moment, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say you're one of the dealerships that can do it in that 3-day visit, right? You've got to be pretty serious about training, otherwise you wouldn't be watching CBT or my show. When it comes to maximizing phone-ups and internet leads, dealerships seem to be on one end of the spectrum or the other. Either you dominate the market by maximizing every opportunity, or become dominated because you don't. Let me share with you a management process that guarantees you the chance to increase phone-ups and internet leads up to 50% overnight. Now, this process applies to both phone-ups and internet leads that are handled in the BDC or the floor. It's called the 15-minute management window. It's worked tremendously for me for years. You've trained your sales team and your BDC department as well, but you need a comprehensive management approach that guarantees you success, and that's the 15-minute management window. Let me explain to you how it works. With the exception of the overnights from the internet department, all phone-ups and internet leads should be managed within 15 minutes of that call or email. The key to that dealership successfully managing these opportunities within 15 minutes starts with either your switchboard operator or your BDC manager, or a combination of the two, depending on your circumstances. For example, phone-up comes in at 9:30 this morning. So somewhere on a piece of paper, the operator writes down, Tom, got a call, 9:30. Just Tom, 9:30, right? And with the caller ID, most likely they can grab that number too and put it right next to it. Tom, applying his skill set, will do the very best he can to try to set an appointment with the customer, preferably today. Either way, the switchboard operator took a note that at 9:30, Tom took a phone up. After Tom effectively took the phone up, he understands that within 15 minutes after he took that call, he has to A, input all the information into the CRM, B, have it physically signed off by a manager with a phone-up card. Yep, there it is right there, right? And C, provide this information to the switchboard operator. Now, without these checks and balances, you're never going to dramatically increase sales and fix the problem once and for all. Opportunities need to be managed thoroughly within 15 minutes, or you're going to be losing the sale to the dealerships that do. Let's get back to the actual management sign-off. So Tom meets up with the manager within 15 minutes to have it signed off. Now, if Tom has all the details filled out, solid appointment, Manager confirms that these details are in the CRM correctly by seeing it. Then it's a simple process of the sales manager just signing off and pushing it forward to the switchboard operator. Tom brings it up to the switchboard operator. Switchboard operator checks off that the information has gone full circle. Now, if we get a phone up on Monday and the appointment's on Saturday, manager's going to find a way to motivate the customer to come in earlier. The further out the appointment, the lower show ratio to begin with. We know this. If we have the basic information but no appointment, and Tom goes to the manager goes online, listens to the call, and then strategizes what's the next and immediate action is. Manager's got two choices after listening to that call. Either he picks up the phone and calls the customer in front of the salesperson, mentoring and teaching the salesperson how to do it right, making a second attempt to get that customer in, or loading the lips of the salesperson and watching and listening on a speakerphone as the salesperson attempts a second appointment with a different strategy, getting the person in today. Either way, if no appointment is set on the first attempt, a second attempt has to be made within 15 minutes, whether it's the floor or BDC, whether it's the sales manager or the BDC manager. If the sales manager says, I don't have time, then you have the wrong person for the job because their title is sales manager. The other two problems I have is when the manager is really not that good at phone-ups. All right, it happens. They're really good at a lot of things, but this might not be the strength. So they don't want to be exposed by using this 15-minute management window, so they just sign off. That's easy to fix. Have my trainer come in and train everybody, including the managers, how to master that phone-up. The other beef I have is a sales manager who literally doesn't do the process I laid out and just simply signs it to get the salesperson off the back. Now you get every salesperson going around to that sales manager because they don't want to be managed, and a manager doesn't want to manage them. If you do the process right, you're going to dramatically increase sales. If you don't, you're going to be right back where you started. The final piece in the check and balances is that switchboard operator. They wrote down that Tom took the call at 9:30. If Tom hasn't come back to her by 9:45 to check in with a signed copy of the phone-up card, she pages Tom once, twice, three times. Tom doesn't respond, she pages the sales manager, reminds the sales manager his job to babysit the sales force, not hers. In essence, the switchboard operator is managing the manager and managing the salesperson, holding everybody accountable. This completes the perfect triangle of checks and balances. Now, it's not the operator's job to enter any of this information, just to make sure it did get done. Actually, part of the manager signing off is him looking at the CRM to make sure all that information was put in there effectively. A big key to this whole process is your managers have to be good at phone-ups themselves. Trust me, when I go into dealerships to implement this, I'm shocked to see how many managers struggle with phone-ups themselves. Again, not trying to bury any manager. There's a reason why they're a manager, because they're really good at a lot of things, right? Now, the same process applies to BDCs. It's just that the BDC manager is the one that signs off on the opportunity. And if your BDC manager isn't stronger than death on a phone-up, we have problems. If you have any questions on this, just call my office and we'll talk. Finally, the last piece of this puzzle, which is extremely crucial, it's setting a standard performance that you hold people accountable as well as proper lead distribution. Talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's a certification process. Those two final pieces guarantee any dealership a dramatic increase in sales. Typically, the standard performance is on a 3-month phase where you stair-step everybody into getting a stronger level of acceptance. Depending on how your numbers are, you could go 10%, 11%, and then 12.5. If you're doing fairly decent and have higher expectations, your 3 months might be 12%, 13%, and 14% as the minimum acceptable standard delivery ratio. Now, if the worst person on your staff was selling and delivering 12.5% of your leads, the dealership overall would easily be in the 15 to 20% range. Now, if the worst person on the staff was doing 14%, then the dealership as a whole would be in the upper teens and lower 20s as a minimum. So if your standard performance is 12.5, that's 1 out of every 8 leads turning into a sale. If they can't do that, and they shouldn't be handling these opportunities because they're probably just taking the low-hanging fruit and don't want to follow through on people. If a person's taken 16 leads so far this month and only sold one, unless a sales manager has deemed the other 15 as unsellable, then you quit distributing leads to that person until they've taken one of those other 15 that haven't bought and converted at least that one into a sales. Typically, you have a fair distribution up to about the 10th of the month. On the 10th of the month, you quit giving leads to the people that haven't met that minimum standard and continue to give them the people that have. That reevaluate every 5 days, so whoever's on the standard keeps getting leads, whoever is temporarily suspended. Hey, there you have it. A, train your people to effectively handle phone ups and internet leads. B, manage those opportunities within 15 minutes of their origination. And C, remember, those opportunities are privileges, not a right. So set a standard of performance to those who want to take these leads and hold those people accountable to meet that objective. This way, your advertising becomes an investment with a predictable rate of return rather than an expense. Start the process today, and you'll see a dramatic increase before you know it. I love this business. We'll see you next time.